Hello, everyone. Welcome. Make yourselves at home. We're going to get moving and shaking momentarily. Now, a couple of things just while we're waiting and giving a moment of grace, and I get my PowerPoint up and running. Just want to let you all know that we do these things a little bit differently than most or many, in that instead of using webinar format, we actually use the Zoom room format so that there's an opportunity for more intimacy and connection and questions and answers and all of those sorts of things, because this is not intended to be a one-way dialogue. This is intended to be a interactive conversation that answers the questions for you to get truly ready to joint venture, thus the title of Get Joint Venture Ready. So we'll just give a moment or two more of grace, and then we are going to get moving and shaking. And by the way, if any of you have any questions while this is going on and all the rest of it, while I'm teaching or training those sorts of things, you can put them in the chat. You can reach out to Krista. She can answer any and all questions related to upcoming events, getting yourselves registered, taking advantage of some of the special offers, all of those fun, wonderful things. Come on, machine. There we go.
Feel free while we're waiting to let everybody know where you're from. And if you're new, how you found out about the Art of Invitation, or sorry, getting JV ready. Art of Invitation is tomorrow. Yes, there will be a replay. Everybody who registered and will have that available tomorrow, I do believe. Is that correct, Jay? Just for those who've registered?
Technology working well, theoretically. We never make any promises about that, but everything, it's possible. It's possible, and I'm certainly not making any promises. But okay, we got a lot of ground to cover here. Let me just check the chat.
Honolulu, Southern California, Oregon coast.
Franklin, Kentucky, Ontario, Canada, Bayatoni Kaufman. Yes, that's so funny. I thought you looked familiar, Brenda. That makes perfect sense. Denise from good old Vancouver. Michelle Cameron, congratulations on getting appointed to the board of directors for the Canada Sports Hall of Fame. I just saw that post today and I was like, that is so awesome. So good for you. Cool. All right, gang. Let us dive on in then. So there we go. We are at the Get JV Ready Masterclass, brought to you by JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit, which really boils down to me, Krista, my dear wife, our brilliant team, and a bunch of great folks and community members who do great work in the entrepreneurial space and in the entrepreneurial world. So our aim here tonight is that we are going to dive through the mechanics, the processes, the grounding, who you need to be, what you need to do, what you need to have to actually be JV ready. Now, before I dive into all of the details, I would love to do a quick little survey here. Who here would say that, you know what, I actually think I am JV ready, but it feels a little lumpy and not quite fully integrated? If you're in that spot, just say ready, but, and just type it in the chat to give me an idea. And if you're in that spot of, yeah, I am pretty clear that I am not JV ready, just say not ready. And if you're here going, it's like, what the hell is a JV? And what would being ready for one look like? You can just put in WTH, what the hell? I'm still trying to figure it out. So ready, but details, got it. Not ready, ready, but. Not ready, but not ready at all. Not ready, JV junior, okay. Well, at least we don't have any what the hells, or at least not yet. Or if you are a what the hell, you're not typing it in, which is all fine as well. Okay, so here's the thing. The truth of the matter is that this could be a 2-month-long course to actually get into the nitty-gritty, the details for each and every one of your circumstances, situations, and processes. It absolutely could. We still don't have that much time. I'm still scratching my head, Coach Carolyn. So what I want to do is I want to give you the most important parts. And here's the honest God truth, and I mean this in all seriousness, is that it is possible to be JV ready in about 30 seconds. And in that 30 seconds, that is the time that it takes for you to choose to support someone else, even though your product, service, experience, your JV links, your affiliate tracking program, all sorts of things aren't in place. That makes you a JV partner. You're JV ready. The second you decide to support somebody who is already in the game, already playing, already doing their thing. So you don't need to make this more complicated than it is, because you can participate right away. Now, getting yourself, your products, your services, your organizations, your structure, all those sorts of things ready, honest to God, that takes some time. But it's not insurmountable. You could do it in, depending where you're starting from, you could do it in a week if you didn't even have a CRM. You could do it in a couple of days if you were just framing an offer and testing it. So just know that this can be done and can be done quickly if you're willing to apply your will and make it happen. So I'm going to get moving and shaking in here, and I'm going to go through the outline of what we're going to cover today. This is the time. And by the way, just to be clear about this, I would strongly suggest get out pen and paper, get out a clean sheet of, You can tell that I'm an old analog guy. Get out a clean sheet of Microsoft Word to type on, or whatever it is you type on in your computer. But honestly, God, you're going to want to take some notes. All right. First and foremost, we believe that a joint venture is a game of I'll go first. And this is one of the reasons why, if you are wanting to get JV ready, step number one is find out and work with partners who are in the game already, who have proven conversions, who have a product, service, and experience that's interesting to your tribe, to your community, or to you. That's the place to start. And it takes seconds. But most of you are here because you want to get JV ready for people to support you. You want to have upstream partners that are saying, hey, let me share with you my friend Derek's project, because that would make a monumental difference, or whatever that process is. So we're going to go through this entire piece. The top of the list, my friends, is this: build relationships. Write that down, highlight it, circle it, exclamation point it, put little hearts around it, because it is the single most important thing under the sun. The piece that people get wrong all the time is they think that the solution to joint ventures is having all of your technical ducks in a row or shit in order. Nothing could be further from the truth. There are tens of thousands of people out there that have their technology perfectly aligned, and nobody gives a damn because they didn't build the relationships. Okay, so number one, build relationships. Now, number two is craft your offer. The most spectacular thing that joint venture partners are looking for, once we get past values and alignment for our tribes, is, do you have an offer that will actually convert? That's it. And if your offer isn't already converting with your tribe, with your community, in your business, consistently and powerfully, then for the most part, you got no right to be out asking me, somebody else, Krista, or anyone in the community to say, hey, try and sell my shit to your tribe because I can't sell it to mine. That wouldn't quite be fair. Does that make sense? Chris, you and I are the only ones who giggled at that. Everyone else is like, All right. Now, as you're crafting your offer, guess what you should be doing? It's a big surprise. You might have to think about it for a little bit. Build relationships. By the way, you're going to notice a theme as we go through this. Now, you've crafted your offer. You think you've got something that's going to work. Now you have to market test. And I'm going to go through the greater depth and detail about this as we go along. I just want you to get the chapter titles. Market testing means, can you convert it and sell it to your tribe? Yahoo. Those are the warmest, most likely folks to buy your stuff. Market test means, second part to it, can you convert it to what I'm going to call warm joint venture traffic? So that's where there's a relationship where I can say, hey, you know what? You should absolutely go and do something with Michelle. Michelle is a spectacular human being who does more good work in the university than you can possibly shake a stick at. I like her. I trust her. She comes to my house for wine. Go do some shit with her. And if I give that endorsement to her, the likelihood, as long as the offer is matched up, the likelihood is that's going to go really, really well. But you market test first with your tribe, next with warm JV traffic, and then the third place you market test with is cold traffic. So that's paid traffic. That's a bot list. That's something like that. And you should have, just to be clear about this, you should have the best conversions with your list. You should have the second best conversions with a warm endorsed joint venture partner. And you should probably have the worst conversions with a cold list, cold traffic, paid traffic, or some version thereof. But you've got to test it. Now, while you're testing it, guess what you should do? It's a very difficult question to answer. It's something you probably have never heard of or thought of even before, not even just once. But truly and genuinely, you should be building relationships. So I was going to say, I'm not going to say anything more about that, but I am. I'm going to bug you about it throughout the entire masterclass. Now, I'm going to put the rest up in one fell swoop, and we're going to go through them quickly so we can get actually teaching you the details. So then you've got to get your technology in order. And what I mean by get your technology in order is this, is that you need to have some method, a CRM, a transparent process for people to be able to see what you are doing, what they are doing, how many links they got, how many clicks they got, how much money is owed. By the way, it doesn't always have to be in that manner, just to broaden this perspective. I've been very busy building crypto miners. So Ethereum crypto miners, which I have done as joint ventures primarily. So I've got 22 crypto miners in my garage. Probably 17 of those plus or minus are JV partners. And there's no big affiliate links or tracking or any of that stuff. We simply give them access to the software that allows them to monitor their rig. So they know at any instant in time, is it up, is it down, is it making money, how much is owed in terms of the last couple of weeks of earnings. So it has to be transparent. If you can't get your technology to work in a manner that's going to be transparent, the honest God truth is this, you're going to have great difficulty finding great partners. Okay, the truth of the matter is the joint venture world still has risk at it in terms of people being paid, when they're going to be paid, all the rest of it. You've got to give them all the information that they require. While you're doing that, you're going to build relationships. Surprise. Then you've got to write swipe copy. And swipe copy in its simplest terms is this. It's you doing the heavy lifting to write the promotional copy that your partners will utilize and send out, because you don't want to make a big make work project for them in terms of like, hey, I got this thing to sell. You should do a bunch of work trying to figure out how to sell it to your tribe. Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's the time, nobody's the willingness. It just doesn't make sense. You've got to give it to them on a silver platter. And we'll go through some examples. I will show you. It's something that we do an awful lot of in terms of helping people frame it and figure it out at JBLG Live so that we can get the fundamentals of that stuff done. Throughout the process, you're going to be building relationships. And then you should create a partner page, which is a simple, clean, easy, and powerful way for people to sign up with you to participate in your joint venture projects. You're going to build relationships, and then you're going to create what we call a one sheet. And a one sheet is simply this. It boils down to a written version of your joint venture invitation. Again, we do a bunch of work at that with this at JBLG Live. You practice making that invitation over and over and over again, and it has 4 key components. I'm going to go through all of those things here. And surprise, 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 the single most important thing that you must do to get JV ready is to build relationships. So I'm just going to say this one last time. Probably not, now that I think about that. But here's what I see people do all the time, is they get lost in the product, okay? I'm building a new app. I am creating a digital program. I am writing a book. I am teaching a new course. I've got a new 90-day program. I've got a coaching process. I've got a mastermind. And they disappear trying to get that thing built and done in their basement, in their cave, kind of like the engineers building all these things. Then they come up from their little basement and they go, ta-da, look what I created. It's fantastic. And here's what the world does. Yeah, so because good joint ventures aren't product specific, they are relationship centric. If you build a relationship and then come up with a great product, service, and experience, those bells, people are like, oh, that's kind of cool. How can I support you? It's a different experience. And 9 times out of 10, when I hear people say, it's like, yeah, I tried joint venturing, it just didn't really work out the way I wanted to, it is for one reason only, my friends. It is because they took a transactional approach. I asked Bob to mail. Bob had a 10,000 person mailing list. Bob mailed to 10,000 people, but only 17 people opened the email and nobody bought. So that JV thing doesn't really work, which is 1,000% untrue. Now let's be clear. Could you have had a shitty experience? Yes. They're not terribly uncommon, but those crappy experiences are generally created by transactional approaches. And you can solve that by putting the relationship first, and that makes all of this a whole heck of a lot easier. So if you're with me in terms of the outline, give me a hell yeah in the chat. So you can see we got a little bit of ground to cover, to put it mildly. Now, gang, as we're going through this, if you have any specific questions, you feel free to drop it in the chat. You can raise your hand. I will do my very best to make time. And when I say very best, I've got an agenda that we got to keep in terms of time frame. So I will go as quick as I can so we can get this stuff done. So joint ventures equal relationships. Now, there are a whole bunch of platitudes around this that kind of bug me a little bit. People are just like, Your net worth is the same as your net worth. And it's a little bit hokey. It's not wrong, but it's a little bit hokey. So here's the thing that I want you to understand is that relationships must be built before you want and need them to promote you. I'm going to say that again. Relationships must be built before you want and need them to promote you. Simple, straightforward. It's not rocket science. Relationships need to be built before you take somebody on a date, for the most part. Relationships need to be built before you are having wild sex with them. Relationships need to be built like it's just one of those foundational things. And for the love of all things good in the world, I don't know why people who are often pretty damn good at relationships in their life, with their kids, with their spouses, with their families, all sorts of things, come to the business world and it's like, hey, I don't know who you are, but you should sell my shit. What on earth? How does that occur? I don't understand it. And if any of you are sending cold emails or cold Facebook messages or cold texts asking to do those sorts of things like, hey, you should sell my stuff, just stop it. You're wasting internet bandwidth and time. Deal? Like, just don't. Don't. It is not welcome. So if you want to build a relationship with somebody who, by the way, oftentimes we get questions about, well, somebody has got a bigger list, they've been longer in the business, all the rest of it. So you want to do as much as possible for them in a meaningful manner to them. By the way, that doesn't mean that you have to have a list of 10,000 or 20,000 or 100,000. It means that you need to figure out what is important in their life and in their world and move the needle for them in a manner that matters to them. So I'm going to share a pet peeve of mine. Who here has written a book? And if you've written a book, raise your hand or put it in the chat. You've written a book. Okay. Writing a book's hard. I wrote a book. I'm a terrible writer. Now, we've done really, really well with that book. But I'll tell you what. I would never suppose that somebody should read my book because I sent it to them. I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't know, did you love getting homework at school? No, I mean, not me either. It's like, if somebody sends me a book, that's about the same as saying, hey, I think you should spend 19 hours of your life on my book that you didn't ask for and you didn't buy. When you're done your homework assignment, maybe we could take a next step. It's like, no, don't do that. That doesn't move the needle for me. That gives me a project and burns my time. So if you want my attention and my energy, you want to contribute to the relationship, you make my life easier. You save me time. You solve a problem. You contribute to a cause. You get behind something that I'm working on. You understand the difference between these two things? Raise your hand and give me a hell yes in the, yeah. Okay. So, and by the way, I love that you wrote a book and I admire it tremendously. But don't send it to me as a homework project. That is not going to move the needle, generally speaking. So do as much as possible for them, not to them. You can attend events. One of the most powerful ways under the sun is to actually see people. And I know COVID has made that a little bit difficult to actually have more intimacy, connection, those sort of things. But I got to tell you, I am so excited that we can actually get back at this. We recently just did our Cabo San Lucas JVology Summit, which was absolutely, utterly spectacular. And for lots of reasons, but one of which was you got to see real human beings in person. Got to give them a hug, have a glass of wine together, brainstorm some cool ideas, go for a run on the beach. Like, those things matter. And it's not the same as sitting in our office on Zoom again. It's just different. All right. And again, in this process of relationships, you want to make it easy. You do not want to be a high friction partner. You don't want to be a high friction relationship. How many of you have people in your family who you love and all, but they're just a little more work than everybody else? Raise your hand. Don't bullshit me. I know you. Yes. And they're also the ones that, you know, when the phone rings and it's like, oh, it's them, maybe later. Raise your hand. You know you've done it. I've done it. And I'll be very clear with you, with my mother. I know none of you have mothers like that. And I love her dearly, but sometimes she's just a little bit more work. So my point is this. If you're going to build a relationship, and that is what the foundation of this joint venture process is when you text, when the phone rings and it shows your name. It's like, oh, it's Brenda. It's like, awesome. I can't wait to talk to you. How are you? What's going on? What's new in your world? That's what you're after. And if you have a relationship that is any less than that, you're going to have some real significant challenges and difficulties in the process of joint ventures. Now, I'm going to say one more thing about this. This is a little bit more advanced, but I want you to understand. We'll teach some of the basics of this at JVology Live, and we also have a particular entirely different program called InStream, which is about identifying, building relationships with long-term partners. But there's an intimacy scale that we have created that really has 10 steps to it. And it goes from being an unknown all the way to having intimacy and influence from 0 to 10. So unknown is don't know who you are, don't care. 10 is I will do something simply because you ask. Okay? And there's a whole bunch of steps in between. Well, actually, a whole bunch. 10. But we measure each of those pieces in terms of the quality of the relationship. And here's what I see happening all the time. We have people who are operating at 2s and 3s. And by the way, you don't even begin to get on somebody's radar until you're like a 7 or an 8. We have people at 2s and 3s trying to move the needle in the joint venture space. And it's the same as, trying to run uphill against the wind, tied to a tree with a rope. You exert a lot of energy, but you just really aren't going anywhere. So you've got to work on the relationship, and you've got to get the intimacy and the influence scale working in your favor before you can really count on JV's working. Okay, Yvette Briscoe says, high maintenance. I'm familiar with that a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to touch on that and harp on it a couple more times as we go through this, but let's dive into crafting your offer because there's some key elements here. Get your pen and paper ready, your fingers to your keyboard, and away we go. So I want to be very clear that if you're going to joint venture, you need a promotional opt-in, sometimes called a lead magnet, sometimes called a free gift, sometimes called A. And this is one of the things that I want to just really wave my flag about, which is time and time again, I see people say, oh yeah, my promo opt-in is for my webinar. I said, no, that's not what that is. Your webinar is a teaching conversion tactic that I have to give my time to you at a particular time, generally at a particular place, generally all those sorts of things. That isn't a promotional opt-in freebie. That is something where you are asking a lot of me. So a promo opt-in is something that I get, please hear this, virtually instantaneously. Some of the best in the universe are PDFs. And why the PDFs are some of the best in the universe is that number one, they're instant. And number two, the completion of the loop is done when either they see it downloaded in their email inbox or they download it into their downloads folder, which they will never go back and look at again. But psychologically, the promise has been kept and you have delivered what you said you were going to deliver. Instant gratification with a completion of the loop is always a better opt-in than, hey, watch my video. Hey, listen to a podcast. Hey, come to my webinar. Hey, why don't you? That shit all complicates it and makes it harder. So if any of you had this thought of, oh, hey, yeah, my promotional opt-ins, they opt into my masterclass, they opt into my webinar. No, that's not it. Okay, so depending upon how you came to this, it could have been a bunch of different ways. So you may have done what we call the joint venture success checklist, which then we invite you to this. You may have done our 5-day challenge, and then we invite you to this. You may have been a friend of mine and the sponsors, Tony's, who said, hey, would you come talk about this? And come invite you to this. There's a couple of ways in which you could have come here. But for the most part, if you want to be JV ready, you need a promotional opt-in. Please hear this, that I, as your partner, am excited and thrilled to send to my tribe because I know it's going to serve and support them. It has to have that much value that I feel fantastic about. It's like, hey, you'd be crazy not to go and get this gift because it's going to move the needle in your life and in your business. Go get it, for crying out loud. Don't just get it, use it, listen to it, watch it, read it, do whatever you got to do. If I'm not that excited about it, please hear this. Neither will my clients, and your opt-ins, your yeses from partners are simply going to be weak. Okay, so you need a complementary, powerful, valuable gift at the front end that opens the door, that completes the loop and makes sense. So before I go any further, I want to actually just stop here and see if there are any core questions about this, because honest to God, I see people getting this wrong half the time. It's a big deal. You should probably be spending more time on your opt-in lead magnet process than your actual course and the thing you're selling. I'm serious about that. Yes, Denise, just unmute yourself, my dear.
Yeah, thank you. So how big of a PDF we're talking about?
Oh,
Like a one pager, a 50 pager, a
I knew somebody was going to ask that and I didn't want to answer it, but just because you asked, I will.
thank you.
And there's actually, we teach in our business basics breakthrough, we teach a matrix about this. And here's the good news and the bad news. The shorter it is, the more likely it is to be consumed. The shorter it is, the more likely it is to be not much value than like a 10 box checklist, which is like, that was complex. So there's a trade-off. One of the best lead magnets we ever had was something that we called the Launch Your Mastermind, the Mastermind Mentors Manual, which is the actual manual that I use to teach my facilitators, coaches, and trainers for 20 years how to run masterminds after personal development courses. So it's a 52-page manual. It's the actual thing. Now, here's the honest God truth. That manual was so good that when we would give it away, I would get emails from the occasional person. It happened quite a lot, actually. That was like, oh, there's been a mistake, and I just think somebody should tell you, is that I opted in for your freebie, but they actually gave me the actual course. And it's like, no, that's the freebie. It's like, no, you're wrong. It's like a 52-page manual. It's got like all the secrets in it. It's like everything's there. It's like, yeah, we know that's the freebie. It's like, oh, how could that be? It's like, because there's a 6-month course to actually apply the freebie, because it's a little bit more complex than the manual. So the good news about that 52-page manual is if people were really interested in running a mastermind and they opened it up, they knew that we knew our shit better than anyone in the universe. But at 52 pages, most people got to page 3 and it's like, holy crap, that looks like a lot of work, and did not consume the entire thing. So it's a matrix, and it depends upon the complexity of your offer. It depends upon the price of your offer. It depends upon what the promise of your offer is. It depends upon all of those pieces. You've got to figure out what the sweet spot is for you. And by the way, that's not an easy thing. The sweet spot between brevity and value that is perfectly in alignment with the promise of the course that you want to actually sell. Wait, man, and when I say course, I mean course, program, digital, whatever, you know what I mean. But does that help answer the question, Denise? It's one of the most complex sort of mysteries of aligning those pieces under the sun. It's one of the reasons we spend an entire week on it in the business basics breakthrough.
Thank you.
And by the way, here
it should be related if we want to promote a course, and that should definitely be related to what we want to promote later on, right?
Well, it has to be directly related. And this is the other issue I see with it over and over and over again. It's like somebody has a great valuable opt-in, Yahoo, but it actually doesn't lead directly to what it is that we're trying to figure out. The truth is, if somebody used that 52-page manual, it's like, wait a second, I've got 192 questions. And there's like 2 questions a page. If I've ever never done this before, it's like, yeah, there are a lot of questions, because this is not the easiest thing in the universe to do well. Thus, you should take our course, the Launch Your Mastermind 90-Day Bootcamp. And if it's not that directly related, that's not a very good opt-in. Now, I just objectively, I'll say this real quick, and then Yvette, we'll do one quick question, then we got to keep hustling. So here's a mistake that I made. And by the way, one of the things that you'll find out about if you choose to work with us and come to JBology Live, I can probably teach you more about what not to do than what to do. Because I'm pretty prolific at making mistakes, and I'm pretty transparent about how they go. So our first checklist is called the Ultimate Joint Venture Success Checklist. It's a spectacular checklist. And it is too complex for most of the people who are trying to figure this out. I would say 40% of the things on the list, lots of folks don't even know what the hell they need. So that's where we backed it up to a different opt-in gift, which we call Escape the Marginal Success Trap, because that spoke to a broader audience that then pointed to, if I'm stuck in this spot, how do I get out? You get out with joint ventures. So just know that it's a moving target. You won't get it right the first time. You simply won't. You pay attention to what converts, what doesn't convert, what sort of feedback you get, and how is that working. Yvette, you're up, my dear.
What is your opinion of summits?
I think it's like everything, it has a place. And just to be clear about this, we host a couple of summits. I participate in summits. I think that when they're done well and targeted well with a proper, like, specific niche, I think that they can do really, really well. But sometimes the summits are better for the host than for the speaker. So you just got to be cautious. And here's the bigger, I think, bigger answer to that question is, it sort of depends on where you're at as an entrepreneur, where your business is. We all have to climb from where we're at. And if summits are the place that we got to start climbing from, chop, get in the summits.
I mean, hosting one.
Well, the answer is the same for both.
Okay.
If you're going to host one, get a great specific niche, do your very best to make it as valuable for absolutely everyone. And do not make it just a business general one. That'll be a shit show on wheels. Is the honest God truth. There's just too many of those things.
I'm not in the business arena, so it's health related. It's for people who have autoimmune diseases. The name of the summit is Beyond Surviving to Thriving, Look Better, Feel Better, Be Better by Kicking MS and Other Autoimmunity in the Butt. And so the idea is to invite
I get it. Yeah.
in the wellness world.
So to me, I like the niche of that and the specificity of that. And to be honest, one of the most successful summits that I have come across in the last 6 months was maybe 9 months, was about menopause. And she did about $500,000 in about 9 days on the topic of menopause. So if I have anything to say about the autoimmune piece, is that autoimmune may well be too broad. You might do better at something that is even more specific and nameable. So somebody can go, oh, thyroid, should have got that, or oh, arthritis, or whatever the case may be. But your call.
Okay.
Okay, we got to hustle. By the way, that summit piece, tremendous opportunity for great freebie opt-ins at the front end of that. Just going direct to the summit isn't always the best route. Okay, I'm going to keep hustling, gang, for time. By the way, if you have any other, yep. So PDF, challenge, giveaway, all of those are fantastic. Now, having a great opt-in isn't good enough. A great opt-in can build a marvelous list, but doesn't necessarily sell anything. Have you ever had the experience of opt-in after opt-in after opt-in after opt-in after opt-in, and no sale after no sale after no sale after no sale? Anyone been in that boat? It ain't a ton of fun. I have. So the conversion process. And what I want you to understand is that the opt-in, whether it's the PDF, the challenge, the giveaway, something that engages them, all the rest of it, has to lead directly to the masterclass, the webinar, the sales page, the one-on-one, the live event, and they have to be in alignment. And the honest goodness truth is this, is that you need to get your conversion process strong enough that you know if a JD partner sent you 100 opt-ins, that you're going to have 30 people on the masterclass, and out of those 30 people, you're going to sell 3 on average. And by the way, sometimes it'll be 0, and sometimes it'll be 13, but if you keep doing it long enough, it's going to average somewhere in 3 to 5. Ta-da, you're in the 10% range. It's a little bit miraculous. That conversion process, it must be integrated into your business, and you've got to be able to demonstrate and model it and give examples to your JV partners. Now, let's go stop here. Lots of times, this is where people think it ends, particularly if they're used to transactional business relationships, if they're used to transactional joint ventures. But here's the honest to God truth. We're only about halfway through here, because just because you can sell something does not mean that you can deliver it. And I see this, and it's a little bit heartbreaking, because there's some folks who are unbelievably spectacular at delivery, and they could not sell or market their way out of a wet paper bag. And then we have these incredible, brilliant salespeople who could sell ice to Eskimos, and they deliver complete shit. It's heartbreaking. So when you're looking for, number one, getting yourself ready, and you're looking for partners to play with, you got to make sure that it's not just the conversion process that happens, the program. They have to solve the problem they said they were going to solve, and they have to deliver on the promise. And by the way, you don't want to be the person that somebody JVs with, they put their name behind you, and then the lashback occurs. And by the way, I have quite literally gotten on a plane, flown to Florida, watched somebody do a program, because I was a little skeptical about it, was blown away by how great it was executed, partnered with that person, sold it to a bunch of our clients, and the complaint rate was through the roof. And I'd done a lot of due diligence, and they still dropped the ball on the core promise. And guess who ends up cleaning that shit up? Me, because they were my community. They were my tribe. They were people who had been with me for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So you gotta be careful about that. And I wanna be clear about this. It doesn't matter what the program is. It could be online, offline, digital, in-person, groups, one-on-one, it doesn't matter, any of those sorts of things. It's prudent to do some research, a little bit of homework. So those are the big pieces. So put your 3 categories. What is my promo and my opt-in? Then what is my conversion process and how's it working? And is my program perfectly aligned to solve that problem and deliver on the promise? Because what you really want is you want your tribe to thank you for introducing them to someone else. I want my tribe to thank me for introducing them to Denise. If that happens, you have a home run. Copacetic? And by the way, that's one of the measures. And it's 100% cool to even say to folks, like, so look, here's my goal. My goal is that we're doing a joint venture, that we're going to sell 10 programs. You're going to make 10,000 bucks. I'm going to make 10,000 bucks. And I'm going to get 3 thank yous from the folks I introduced to you. Like, it's a great measure of what transpires. All right. Tiffany, are you talking about the ultimate JV checklist? And if so, Krista, you can just share that for sure.
What I do?
Yes, thanks.
You're totally welcome. All right, gang. So I'm just going to do a little twist here. When I say what you need to get done to be JV ready, it's in this order. Okay, so I know people who are out running around, and we're going to get to technology in a moment or two, that are out running around trying to solve a bunch of technology questions and issues and all the rest of it, when they don't even know what the hell they sell. It's like, yeah, I'm going to sell a digital program about doing good things in the world faster and better. It's going to be awesome because people will be able to do things faster and better. Some of the jokes are just for me. Actually, there's an additional promise that they can do it faster, better, and they'll make more money at it. That's what I'm doing, something like that. And then they're out trying to solve technological issues. If you don't have an opt-in, a conversion method, and a program that is actually working and generating sales and actually has these things called testimonials and actually has a system and process, that's where you need to start. You go back to that, you figure it out, you craft it, you nail it. Nothing else first, that. Clear? Okay, because the truth is, you don't need Infusionsoft before this is going on. The truth is, you don't need a whole webinar jam before this is done. You don't need any of that stuff. You need to nail this. All right, so let's talk about market testing. How many of you are at sort of the beginning refining stages of what my course, what my program, what my coaching program is, what my mastermind is going to be, what my digital program is going to be? How many of you are at the beginning of that? Okay. So some of you a little bit further along, so I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. So market test. This picture of the credit card being handed across, this is one of the most important things in the entire universe. For the love of all things good in the world, please give the market what they want instead of trying to sell them what you think they need. Give the market what they want instead of trying to sell them what you believe they need. And the true measure of a market test is when the credit card gets handed over. Now, you're going to see the first thing on this list says survey. A good friend of mine, Amana Guy, is a raving fan of the survey, 10 people and all those sorts of things. I'm not really, to be perfectly honest with you. I think that it has a place, but it is not the end all be all for actually positioning and finding out what the marketplace wants. Because what the marketplace says and what the marketplace does is different. I'm going to say that again. What the marketplace says and what the marketplace does is different. And I'll give you a perfect example of it. I was speaking at, we were talking about personal development. So I was a personal development speaker at a business conference. And the idea was that we were going to try and poke people a little bit about, look, business isn't that hard. It's you're designing your personal problems into your business, and therefore, shock of all shocks, it can be a little bit challenging. And by the way, if it isn't already clear to you, that's what all of us do. Your business is the world's most perfectly, or the universe's most perfectly designed personal development program, because you are going to have to face yourself, your limitations, your strengths, your difficulties, your stories, your inconsistencies, all sorts of things in your business, because you're going to build them in. Surprise. Anyway, so I'm doing the presentation on personal development, and I finish, and I would wager half the room coming and talking to me about how spectacular that was, how important that is. I so believe in that. I absolutely have to do that. But I got to get my money for this and I got to get my money for that. But as soon as I get this done and that done, I'm totally going to do your program because that is so important. And then I watch a couple of speakers after me, somebody make a spectacular make easy money program. And the very same people that didn't have money to come and buy personal development, tossing their credit cards at them because it's what they wanted. They wanted a simple solution to their money problems. They didn't want the make work project of actually doing their personal consciousness and transformation work. So here's my point to this. You can survey them, but the test really becomes when they put their money on the line. So ways in which you can do this. Roll out a stripped down program on the topic. So I'll give you an example. Recently, so we have a new sort of community called the Crypto Cafe. And it's for people who are crypto curious, who are in the midst of feeling FOMO about crypto, who want to learn what the basics of the cryptoverse is. And one of the ways we found out if people were interested in that is we simply did a 4-hour workshop for $97 and said, hey, are people genuinely interested in this? I don't know, I think we had 72 people at it or something like that. That's a great test. Money on the line, people are committed or they're not. Both are good. Now, your list should be hotter than anyone else's. And this is where you can then go to things like paid ads. You can use JV communities. You can do any of those sorts of things to make sure that what you're attempting to sell is being greeted by the marketplace in a meaningful and powerful way. And let me just say one last thing. I made that mistake. I'm curious, Chris, about what you believe they needed. Yes, Chris, I burned more goddamn money trying to sell what I thought people needed. Like for 3 years, there's a longer story of me burning all of my money in a bonfire in the back of my house, on a monthly basis because of exactly that same thing. So here's the part that I want you to really take to heart for joint ventures. If your product, service, and experience requires education for them to understand that they should want or need it, it's probably not a great JV offer. Great JV offers meet people at, this is the problem that I need solved. I understand I have the problem. I'm actually looking for a solution. I'm actually willing to pay for a solution. And my friend Bob said he liked and trusted this guy. I'll give it a listen. Those are the most successful joint venture offers. If we have to lift the veil of consciousness and awareness to go, it's like, so maybe I should invest in crypto a little bit, given the inflation and diminishing value of the dollar and the shit show of the economies on the entire planet. Maybe I should. If we have to get them there, they're not our folks. It ain't going to be a great JV offer. Raise your hand and give me a hell yeah if you're following what I'm saying. JV offers should not include the need to educate them about why they should want it. That's a make work project, and it is a recipe for burning your money in a wheelbarrow in your backyard, which I'm quite familiar with. You don't want to do it. Some of you are like, damn, I'm already doing that. It's all right, I'm familiar. So here's the thing. Survey, sure, go ask some questions. craft test offers to your list. When they go okay on your list, then you ask some JV partners, and that's where a JV community where you have a strong relationship with folks, where you can say, it's like, look, this is a new thing. I'm not really sure how it's going to go, but if you'd be so kind as to mail it to, say, 500 people on your list, I will return the favor for you when you ask. And that's a fine conversation to have in the JV community. That's not an easy conversation to have in most entrepreneurial communities, where it's like, hey, we better make some money, we better make some money fast. It doesn't work that way. And if you're really willing to put your money where your mouth is to test what you think is a great product, service, or experience to JV with, then go spend $1,000 on ads. And here's my stand, by the way. If you're not willing to spend $1,000 on ads, you probably don't have any right to ask me to mail my list. Does that make sense to you? It's not, this is not stuff that people like to hear, but I will always tell you the truth about it. Okay, we're gonna get moving on. So market test. So you've crafted all these pieces, then you're gonna test it. And what you're gonna find out is like, oh, my opt-in wasn't quite exactly aligned. I'm going to simplify it, adjust it, or tweak it in some way, shape, or form. And that cycle goes around and around. Technology. I love this. I don't know if you can see it there, but the caption is, figuring out digital marketing is one of the easiest things I have ever done, says Jim, 28 years old. By the way, I shared that slide when I was a guest speaker at the Infusionsoft PartnerCon conference. And I thought it was funny as hell. I even showed a joke because my Infusionsoft guy, I'm an Infusionsoft fan. My Infusionsoft guy, his name's Brad, and he is as bald as could be. He's solar powered. I always do show a picture of like a hairband 1980s rock star, and then Brad, and it's like, that's what Brad's hair was like before he started working with me in Infusionsoft. Anyway, I thought it was funny as hell, but honest to goodness, there was like 125 people in the room who were all Infusionsoft reps who looked a little bit like Jim here, who did not think that was funny at all. And that was just one of those things that's like, it's like, that was pretty funny to me, and now I should go. Anyway, don't do that at Infusionsoft. But here's the top of the list to this. For the love of all things good in the world, hire someone. Okay. I know, well, how are we time-wise? Goodness gracious, time goes fast. Okay, I'm gonna do a 30-second rant. The single greatest flaw, bullshit story, myth, fantasy, sales pitch crap in the entire digital marketing world is that, hey, you can do it yourself. It's just one funnel away. In fact, watch me build it in 3 clicks. When you had a team of people structuring and setting all that shit up for a week and a half. And the myth is, you should be your own tech person. You should be your own salesperson. You should be, it's bad. So here's what you should be. You should be the visionary, relationship builder, strategy, and rainmaker in your business. Technology is a waste of time, distraction. It costs more people more money in the world of digital marketing than you can shake a stick at. And when I say it costs them money, I'm not talking about paying somebody to do it. I'm talking about the time, the effort, the energy, the distraction, the loss of trying to do this stuff yourself, which you're not very good at. So, did I mention you should hire somebody? It's really a fantastic idea. And if you're curious about who to hire, come to JVology. We'll introduce you to a bunch of folks. You can figure out who would fit for you. Now, here are the basics. You need a CRM, customer relationship management system that has affiliate ability. Over and over and over again, I hear people, they come to JVology Live, they join our community, it's like, I got the wickedest deal on this thing, and it's a lifetime access, and it's really fantastic. And it makes salads. And I say, well, it seems very capable. Can you get me an affiliate link? Yeah, well, it doesn't have that. Well, then it's a piece of shit and it's inappropriate. And why are you at a joint venture community with something that doesn't have an affiliate link? What are you going to do? Send me smoke signals when I get a lead? Like, that makes no sense. If it doesn't have affiliate abilities, it can't work in the JV space. Does that make sense? So if you saved yourself $14 a month, but you can't do affiliate marketing, we're in trouble. Okay, so write down, it has to have affiliate tracking capabilities. Now, let me add just one little tweak to this. There are some systems out there that have affiliate tracking, but they don't have what we call a transparent backend. And here's what you need. You need a transparent backend. What that means is that, let's imagine that I was a vet's partner. She's going to give me affiliate links and I'm going to promote her summer. Okay. I send an email. It's like, oh, I'm curious, how many clicks did I get? I'm curious, how many people upgraded and how much money is Yvette going to send me? I should be able to log in and see with limited access my portion of this, so I know how it went, I know how it worked, I know what I'm going to make, what I'm going to be paid. That's what a transparent back end is. And if the system can't do that, the game is not worth it, doesn't work. So the best way I can describe this in the tech world is this. Over and over and over again, I see people tripping over dollars to pick up pennies. You got to buy something that actually works. Okay? Please don't trip over dollars to pick up pennies. It's the silliest thing in the universe. Ideally, you're going to need some sort of page building system. Now, that could be something in WordPress, that could be ClickFunnels, that could be lead pages, that could be whatever. There's more and more and more of those things coming out every single day. You're going to need some form of a domain name where you can redirect a page. So what that means is for example, our process is jvlglive.com, and then if we're doing a Zoom call, we might have / get JV ready. So you've got to be able to manage your domain name so that they're not a bunch of long, ugly Zoom links, and they're not a bunch of long, ugly affiliate links and all those sorts of things. So you got to be able to figure that out. You need to have hosting, which means you've got to have a place to put all of these pages, all of these opt-ins, all of these documents, all of these processes. Go back. And here's the honest God truth about it. You shouldn't have to know any more about it than to say to the person who's building it, build me a great page that is an opt-in to this PDF with an email sequence that is going to convert, with an invitation to my conversion process and a follow-up recycling process for those who don't participate. And if they don't know what that is, then you're not talking to the right person. And the right person who knows what it is, I'll use an example of Hawk. So Hawk Mikado, a member of our community, he has his own software and those sorts of things, which we've used for our Immunity Summit, a variety of other pieces. That whole thing, they'll often come back in 24 hours, 36 hours, like, here you go. Check the copy, tweak the process and make sure it all works, and it's done. And I know people who struggle 3 months, 6 months, 9 months trying to get that stuff done when it's possible to be done in 36 hours for very little money. You must get yourself out of this muck and guck. You must. All right. What is swipe copy? All right. By the way, I'm going to stop sharing for a brief moment because I want to just call up a document that I want to show you and share with you so you have a good idea of what we're talking about. So here's what monsters swipe copy. When I reinstalled that stuff, my link or my open tab got, there we go. I'll just take a moment again. Okay, so let's first and foremost define what we're talking about. So what is swipe copy? It's prepared. I'll try that again in English. It is prepared email and social media content for partners to share with their tribe. And the whole purpose of this is to make it easy. The easier it is for partners, the more they will participate and play. Now, on that same note, by the way, you are going to create the swipe copy, but we hope that our partners are going to put a little time, effort, energy into personalizing it, making it a little bit fun, all those sorts of things. You know, I think of my friend Jane Powers. She made a pledge and makes all of her clients make a pledge which says no more boring emails. And if you ever read some of her emails, you will know that's true. I think one of the times she was emailing for me, it was like, I love him and I want to punch him in the throat most of the time. That, by the way, then there was a picture of her with her hand on my throat. All of which is true, by the way. And it got an open rate that most emails do not get. And you want to include some sort of memes for social media. So like at the very beginning of this, actually, if I go back, I'm going to stop sharing and I'll show you. So memes for social media are something that is consistent with the product, service, and experience that, I'm just going to go back so you can see it. So we're on the same page. This is an example of memes that we use for social media, where we would take a core idea, a value, a belief that we hold in the community. And we simply make it into a little meme that is shareable by our tribe with their little affiliate link underneath and a little line or two about why contributing is so important in joint ventures. Poof, they get to share that away it goes. Works out beautifully. Now, I'm going to show you what we do for Swipe. Now, I want to be really clear about this. I don't expect any of you to do something like what I'm about to show you, but it is a cool idea to give you an idea of where this heads. And just so you know, at JVology Live, we will give you a ton of Swipe files and links so that you can take ours and you can take our Swipe files and edit and adapt them, because there's themes to it, and the themes simply work. So here's what we have is we have this thing, it's literally called the Monster Swipe File Directory. And what it does is it steps people through how to get through the entire process, how to use an affiliate code, how to get all these pieces done, find out how to add swipe copy. And then we simply have some resource swipe copy for different folders, different programs. So we organize it by the programs. Mastermind to Million has its own segment. JVology Live has its own segment. And in that process, and let's just go to the Ultimate JV checklist, which, by the way, Krista, did you get that link in for Tiffany for the JV checklist already? You didn't get it done? Okay, so we'll just do it right here, right now. Which I believe. I didn't put my plug at the end of it, so just confirm that that actually works. So we'll go to the
Yes, that's a good link.
It's behaving a little bit goofy there for me, just bear with me a momento. So simply we organize, because we've got so many different programs, so many different opt-ins, so many different pieces, that what we do is simply put them in folders, let people track them, and then we have the JVology checklist, and these are the files. There's graphics in there so that people can find what it is that they want. Let's actually see if I know that Sharice was updating a bunch of this. Yes, Yvette, I saw your hand pop up again. You want to ask a quick question while we're waiting for it to open?
I just forgot to lower it from last
Oh,
time.
okay. All good. Let me just take a moment to open up here again. All these got closed.
But I am excited. I'm sure I'll have questions later.
Okay. So here's a good example. So swipe copy to the checklist. So these are for folks who want to promote the checklist. And then we give them quite literally 8 different subject lines. Now, why do we give so many different subject lines? Number one, we want to make it easy for them. Number two, we want them to pick the one that they think is going to have the most significant impact on their tribe. We want to give them some ideas of how they're going to do it. We also want to give them, by the way, because the subject line has more to do with them opening anything else. So they could send the same email 3 times with 3 different subject lines, and fundamentally people would never know in terms of what current opt-in rates are. So it gives them breadth of how they can use the processes. And then email body option 1, and we give them a couple of things. So, hey, you might not know where to start, all the rest, or we can go here. We tell them where to insert their link and their code. Option number 2, this is the longer version. So this tries to sell them a little bit more if we get their attention and their energy and their focus. And then we've got social media swipe. So one that you can actually do right now in the comfort of your own home, insert your code. They turn this into a science, here's your link. So this is what swipe is. And you simply organize it and put it together in a manner that makes a monumental difference in the ease for people to play. And then if you have a whole bunch of images, so these are images of the actual document. I'll go there so you can see it. So it's images of the document, things that they can post social media wise, things that they can repurpose in any way, shape, or form. And you just aggregate that stuff together for the purpose of making it easy. If I see people get stuck in this process over and over again, I think that they get stuck most significantly in trying to write pages and pages and pages of swipe copy. And the truth is, you don't need pages. you need maybe 3 to 5 images, and you need maybe 3 to 5 emails that shouldn't have any more than 10 to 15 lines in it. That's it. And again, if you were working with somebody who was fantastic in the digital marketing world, they could have that done for you in about 36 hours. So there's just 2 quick images. They can do whatever their little heart desires with. Is this making sense, gang? Okay. I'm going to interpret that as a yes, it's making sense, and I've got some work to do, is my wild guess. True or not true? Okay, all good. All right, we're going to get back at it because we're running a little longer than I had hoped. So I'm going to get hustling. I got to get back to our slide. Just going to take a second because I jumped back. All right. Now, the next piece is, let's imagine that you go through this entire process. You have a decent invitation. You've got all those things organized. Then what you need is what we call your partner page. And here's what a partner page is. A partner page, and by the way, here's syntax for it. I'll give you an example. We're going to type it in here. HTML. I'll do that. So I'm going to give you an example, which is our partner page. And what you're after, if somebody, you talk to them and say, hey, I've got this particular program, I've got an upcoming summit, are you interested in participating, and all those sorts of things? You say, fantastic, yes, absolutely. So great, what you need to do is go to the partner page to sign up. Now the partner page, use the exact thing that we just put there. So your domain name /partner. And when you do that, what you're going to be looking for or creating is you're going to create a page that looks an awful, well, I should say it looks a lot like this, but it has these elements to it. And the elements that need to be on the partner page are, welcome, this is your partner page and resource center. These are the programs that we can partner on. So JVology Live, the JV Launchpad, the JVology Summit. We give them a little more information in terms of promotional calendar, all the rest of it. We make some social proof of people that we have partnered with, both in the past and in the present. So we go through that entire process and it's like, oh, okay, so that, well, how about you? You want to come play with us? And then it says right here, this is how you would enter your information to join us as a promotional partner. Sets them up with PayPal, all the rest of it. Now, this is integrated to the CRM, which in our case is Keep, or used to be called Infusionsoft. When they do this, it gives them access to their own back-end transparent process that gets them their links. That, in conjunction with the monster swipe file, is really all of the tools and resources that they require to be a spectacular and sensational partner. And please hear this. It's easy for them. The more friction in this process, the less partners will do for you. So whatever your thing is, make it easy. Now, sometimes if I'm like working on a large partner and those sort of things, I'll just say, look, send me your PayPal email, and I'm going to fill all the stuff in for you. So it's automatically done. Just look for your username and access code. It'll be there. And we don't even actually ask them to do it because we want to make it even easier than the standard. By the way, we will teach you the entire process of positioning for the partner page, all those sorts of things at JVology Live. We will go through all of these fundamentals so that you can get these things actually built. Any quick questions or comments about the partner page? All right. Then we are going to get moving along, and we're on the home stretch again. Share the screen. So I put the link in already. You can go check it out. Now, the one sheet example. And the one sheet example is a tool that, honest to goodness, I think you need more for you than for your partners in most cases. And the reason being is this. The one sheet goes through just a couple of key elements. And that might be a little hard for you to read, so I'll just read it to you. The first thing is this, is what is it? So what is the program, the product, the service, the experience? So if I were to use your example, it would be something as simple as, so this is a summit that is aimed at healthcare and the exploding cases of autoimmune and how to heal within naturally, some version thereof. Free to attend with an upgrade path that we expect is going to make great money. Okay, so who is it for? Well, it's for people who have lists of people suffering from autoimmune disorders. And I'm going to assume they're people who know they have autoimmune disorders. They're not still in the I'm a little tuckered, I'm a little tired, and my elbow hurts. They know that they're suffering from it. So it's for people who have lists of those folks. Then the joint venture offer is, this is the business process for it. So in our case, if we were talking about JBology Live, for example, so if somebody purchases a JBology Live ticket, we will pay them 40% of that ticket. And if somebody chooses to participate with us further on in our what we call our flow program, then they would get $1,000 commission. So you just tell them what the dollars and cents of it is. They need to know what the business opportunity is because they're evaluating their mailing time with a multitude of opportunities, and yours has to, quite frankly, measure up. And if it doesn't, it's going to be troublesome. So the final area is, what are the tools? So what resources are you going to give me to actually participate and play? And hand in hand with the tools is also, what do you want me to do? So for example, the tools could be spectacular, well-written swipe copy that converts very well, leading to a webinar for an upgrade to our autoimmune healing program, for example. That's the tools. What we want you to do is to mail each of the 3 pieces of swipe to your list 7 to 9 days prior to the webinar upgrade conversion process. Okay, so I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to mail 3 times. This is what I'm going to get paid. I understand. And I know that you've got the bases covered with the tools done. Yahoo, we should play. That little 1-sheet invitation is worth its weight in gold. And when I say it's more for you than for your partners, here's what happens. Lots of us at the beginning of the JV space or the JV conversation fall back into retail conversations. Like we're trying to sell the person who's in front of us because we're not used to having the conversations. Listen, I know you're not interested in buying my summit, but I know that you have people on your list who are. So we need to have a peer-to-peer conversation, not a retail conversation, so that we can have a peer-to-peer conversation so that I can reach your clients who could become my retail clients. And that's a twist that you have to practice, and people get it wrong all the time. It's one of the reasons at JBology Live, you will do that invitation about 100 times in 3.5 days. You will get really good at it. You will get real-time feedback of it. People lean in, it's like, that's fascinating. I want to know more about that. You also get people like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, on who? In which case, you better adjust, tweak, and adapt. And we'll help you do that through those entire 3 days. So let me just give you the categories so you can start framing out 1-sheets for you. First of all is, what is it? What is the actual course program, the thing? Then, who is it for? Please hear this. This invitation is for partners who have lists of, partners who have stages and access to, partners, because we're talking to partners, we're not talking to retail clients. Then the next piece is, what's the joint venture offer? What are the dollars and cents that I'm going to make if I participate in this? And how is that going to look? And then the final part is the tools and obligations. I'm going to give you the tools, which are 3 pieces of swipe. This is what you're going to do with them. Write it out, give it to folks. You'll be stunned and amazed at what transpires. All good? Okay, so if you get all of those pieces done, then quite frankly, you are going to be in the space of what we call joint venture ready. Now, here's the caveat and the red flag and part of my invitation, because quite clearly, if it hasn't already landed on you, you should come play with us if this shit isn't done in your business. Now, one of the key things that we do at JBology is we work on something called the joint venture success wheel. Now, it's a wheel and not a checklist because it perpetually moves. Okay, at different stages of business, you are going to be doing different things at each of these areas. So the center of the wheel is a community. If you don't have the relationships in the community, none of the rest of it works, just simply put. Now, if you go from community down to tech foundation, great, we've got to have the wheels on the bus, meaning that I swipe this down, I can get you an affiliate link, I can do all those sorts of things. I know how to track, I know how to pay, I know how to collect money, I know how to do all those things. Yahoo. So from tech foundation, we then go up through community to list building. And list building is incredibly important. And if you don't have a strategic process for adding to your list every single day, you're in trouble. That's the simple truth of it. You're in trouble. So if you think of it this way, it's a little bit like, if you ever change a tire on a car, you never tighten the bolts in a circle. You always go across, which is why we go down the tech foundation, up to list building. Then we go over to offers that convert. And this is where this takes some time and energy and refining and market testing and tweaking and adjusting and all those sorts of things. But when you have an offer that converts, your value as a JV partner goes through the roof. I'm going to say it again. When you have an offer that converts, that you can demonstrate, that you can prove, that you can pay with, your value as a JV partner goes utterly through the roof. And then, of course, we go through the community over to partners, and you will find when all these pieces are lined up, you have a lineup of partners. You will have more opportunities than you can take advantage of. But this process, by the way, never ends. It doesn't end when you break $100,000 in JV sales a year. It doesn't end when you break $1 million in JV sales a year. There are additional, more sophisticated refinements to each and every one of those stages, and that's why the circle just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. But you need to handle all 5 of those, regardless of which stage you're at, but you have to do it stage appropriate. So on that note, that is the foundation of what we do at JVology Live and in the JVology community over and over and over again. So I want to do 2 quick things, gang. I want to give you a little sort of idea of what is possible. And I want to give you an invitation that is spectacular, so you know exactly what's going on, that you can't get anywhere else except at the end of these challenges. I'm going to go through it quickly because at this stage of the game, I believe you know what you need for your business. And what you need is more partners, more traffic, more sales, more ease. So my dear friend, Matthew, and by the way, all the testimonials, we don't stage testimonials of like, tell us how great we are outside the room. He posted this on Facebook. I didn't know where to post this, but I want to share a 1-month update and testimonial to encourage people to come attend JVology. I'll see you at the next one. He's 21 years old. 30 days after, he did $28,000 in sales. I took him for supper when he was in Calgary. About another week and a half after that, he was at $36,000 in sales and has continued to knock it out of the park. He's the only, he was 22 by the time this all, he's the only 22-year-old person I know who has a tax problem. That ain't a bad problem to have at 22. At 22, I was trying to, well, we're not going to talk about what I was doing at 22. We don't, that's just not appropriate. So here's what it really takes for you to win in this space. There's 3 elements. The first of which is digital training. You need access and resources to tools when you want it and need it based upon your stage of development and process. You also need a live intensive partner event. You need a kickstart that's going to move you forward in a meaningful and significant manner quickly. And then you need long-term community, because the long-term community is where we continue to see one another, we continue to connect with one another, we continue to deepen the relationship, and then it's like, hey, we should probably do this thing because something's changed in my business, there's been a new opportunity, this is unfolding. That is what is required. And any of the programs that don't have all 3 of this aren't quite right, is the honest God truth. So digital training, access to the tools, resources, and support you need when you need it, a live intensive partner event that catapults you forward and has you, frankly, neck deep in the JV space, and long-term community, which, shock of all shocks, that is exactly what we design. Now, I know there's considerations. I'm going to go through them fast. I'm not ready. My course, my book, my digital program. Relationships first, product second. I don't have the technology in place. We know that's why we teach, train, support, and vet and filter a whole bunch of folks so you can just get that shit done. Please hear this, by hiring somebody and buying the thing that's right for your stage of development. I have a conflict for the dates for JVology Live. By the way, it's May 10th to 13th. Change them. I always say, and I mean this in all seriousness, unless it's your funeral or your wedding, change the whatever you're doing. Unless, or there's the third part of this, unless you're guaranteed to make $100,000 on those 3 days. Those 3 things, go do that. Otherwise, change it, get your ass here, because it's the highest leverage event that you can do in your life and in your business. I don't know how to make a JV invitation. We know. That's why we practice over 100 times throughout that entire weekend. And you will leave with real partners. You will leave with podcast book. You will leave with commitments for mailing. You will leave with Facebook Lives. You will leave with business opportunities that will ring the cash register. I don't have a network of people who get joint ventures. We know that too. That's why we built one, and we're willing to give it to you. Come use ours. It helps us. It helps our partners. It helps you. I always love this one. I don't want to be one of those email marketers. Then that's pretty simple and straightforward. Don't. That is one of the smallest ways to joint venture in the entire universe. You can joint venture in 12 million different ways. Right now, one of my busiest joint ventures in the entire universe, and I see my JV partner Roy is on the line here, is building Ethereum miners and doing that on a joint venture basis. And honest to God, I just thought I was doing it for my family and my close friends, and then all of a sudden it became a hobby gone wild. But here's the truth, is that joint ventures apply to every aspect of life and business. Every aspect of life and business, if you can begin to train your heart, mind, and soul to think that way. All right. I've heard this only works for digital programs, and I'm a coaching consultant. That's BS. It works for coaching, it works for training, it works for masterminds, it works for intellectual property, it works for bricks and mortar, it works for bakeries, it works for coffee shops, it works for everything, but you got to figure out how to work it. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to come to JVology Live, May 10th to the 13th. I've talked a whole bunch of what it's going to be, but let me just say this. It is 3.5 days of intense, both training and education and joint venture partner relationship building. And I swear to God, it will fly by like you will not believe. You are going to never think about your business in the same way, and you will leave with deals done. I have to reshare the screen because I really do want you to see this. And it'll take about 2 minutes, but I have to make sure that you can hear the sound out of it. Share sound and optimize for video clip. Just take a moment to watch this because I think that it says a lot about how this works.
It is a really positive, welcoming community. When Jay talks about we're better together, it's not just a phrase, it's how he has set this up.
What an amazing 3-day event it's been so far. I've made some great connections. Jay taught me things I never even heard of beforehand. You want to come to this, for sure.
It's really wonderful to be able to be mentored and advised by people who've been doing this for years and years, and I've just learned so much.
You owe it to yourself to learn about JVology and show up to these events.
I just want you to know that this is an unbelievable opportunity. We don't need to do it alone.
I was looking for ways to joint venture with people. I know Jay really well, and I trusted him to put together a great event, and I was not disappointed.
It's been eye-opening. It's been full of aha moments. I think that the biggest thing for me is I've got 5 upstream partners, 5 downstream partners, and I understand what that means to have the upstream and downstream partners.
The connections alone made this whole venture worthwhile. It is really phenomenal. The ideas and the concepts of how these things can mesh, the way you can leapfrog through simplistic things that become so money-making. The deal that kept on coming up is, you want to make $1 million? Then people will show you how you can do it, and they've done it before. If you're thinking about doing this, you have no idea what it is, just sign up, book off the 3 days. It's going to be so worth your time. It's freaking amazing.
I came here looking to create a list, a community, a network, and it's more than that. Whether you're starting your first business or whether you're wanting to grow your business to a different level, I encourage anyone at any level to come because you just get more than just the people, the list. It's all about community and helping each other.
I ended up leaving the event with more than 20 connection calls, booked on 6 podcasts, and I'm having about 15 conversations with people that know what I do and they know whether or not I'll be a good fit for their audience.
I have some real answers that I can implement like right now, today.
I have never failed to have people I connect with and work with afterwards and get involved with, and it's rare. It's very rare to find this kind of community.
And you know, the thing that I often say, you know, when there's testimonials and those sort of things, like your results may vary. It's like, these are the standard results. This is what people get. They show up, they participate, they leave with results like this over and over and over and over and over and over again. This is like, don't be a bump in the log, do some of your work and leave with those results. It's just, it ain't complex. So come to that event. That will catapult you forward. It will sort of embed and ensconce you in the community. Now, on top of that, you need some digital support. And this is where the joint venture success system comes in. And it's 12 modules of training that take you from really what the heck's a JV all the way through to how to design and structure complex product launch formula style launches and how to integrate that into your business. And I'm not going to go through every single line here. Just know that it starts at the basics and it ends with the fundamentals of successful launches. And just to be clear about it, this is the exact process that we went through for Mastermind to Millions, that went from zero, the brand didn't exist, to doing $2.6 million US in 14 months. From a standing start. So this isn't theory, this isn't a good idea, this is what we did, how we did it, and how you can do it too. I don't know, anybody use $2.6 million in the next 14 months? Would that be helpful to anyone? It's probably not enough, I understand, it's way too low. So anyway, it's all there and it's accessible instantly and immediately for you. My suggestion, by the way, gang, is if you're brand new at this, you go and you work through those processes and listen to every single one of them to build the contextual framework for what you're going to build in your business. If you're a little bit more advanced, it's like, no, I got the basics, I got that stuff done. But then it's like, wait a second, I want to do a webinar campaign. Then you jump into the library, you look up webinar structures and webinar campaigns, and then you model what we teach there. It works every time. So we've been selling this, by the way, for the last, I don't know, 4 years for $2,000. It's a hell of a deal at $2,000. Doesn't include anything else, just that, and it is spectacular. By the way, that's the other part. There's two, I believe, and this is going to be mentioned in bonus later, I believe, but there's 2 full recordings of JVology Live that you can utilize as well there. So if you register now, you get all of these bonuses. The JV Success System, plus 2 tickets to JVology Live, so you can bring one of your partners or one of your team. You get to participate in the Joint Venture Roadmap, which is a 12-day course which starts this Friday. Brief little email training, brief little activity for you to get the wheels on the bus. And I've been told, by the way, that 12 days is more valuable than an entire year in some of the other joint venture communities that the person participated in, that there was actually more real training and value instead of hyperbole and BS. You'll get the Know Your Metrics online training, which is $197. The 6-figure launch secrets, valued at $497. So the total balance is $3,185 plus the JV Success System. So that value is $4,685. Here's the deal. You can get it all for $997, which is frankly spectacular. And we only do this at the end of the challenge. Okay, so this is not something that is offered throughout the year or any of those pieces. After the 5-day challenge, people will actually show up and do it. That they can get it for. If that's challenging, you can even split it up into 3 payments of $397. So here's the truth of the matter. JVology Live on its own, those tickets, when the early bird is done, are $997. The value proposition is exceptional. However, what would make it like totally 100% irresistible? You have some people say, just give it to us free. No, we're not doing that. That would be inconsistent with business, okay? But I tell you, we'll do something that's better. So the 5 JV partners and 5-day challenge bonus is this. I'll give you a steady supply of joint venture partners for an entire year. More partners than you could possibly even work with. And how we do that is we'll give you a membership to the JVology Global Lounge, our monthly community. This is that long-term community where you get to reconnect. You get to do your JV invitations every single month. You get what we call tech and strategy calls, where we bring in support for specific joint venture strategies, specific technologies, specific strategies, so you can apply them to your business. And that is $97 a month or $997. More partners than you can work with in an entire year. You get that too, which is spectacular. So if we put that all together, the first bonus package and the second bonus package, which is the challenge, which is $1,164, that comes to a total value of $6,346. And again, $997 or $397. And Krista, did you put the link in the chat already or not yet? Thank you, my dear, appreciate it. So that is it. And the link is, if you haven't seen it already, jvology.com/JVSS. And let me just actually put that in here so you can just see what the page looks like and you know you're at the right spot. You will see when you get there that it is pretty simple and straightforward to get moving and shaken with. And what I really only have at the end is, there any questions that I can answer about the Joint Venture Success System, about JVology Live, about what the decision is that frankly you need to face in terms of growing and scaling your business, because there's no less expensive way and there's no higher leverage strategy than joint ventures. So if you've got any questions, you can pop your hand up. I'm happy to answer them. We've got about 5 minutes in terms of what we said for timing, and anything I can do to support, I am happy to do so.
I was going to mention that the Global Lounge piece that you were talking about at the end, we've got a great call coming up tomorrow with a special guest. So if you do jump in tonight, make sure you connect with me directly and I can get you the information so that you get into the call tomorrow.
Yes, and just to be clear about the woman who's speaking is a dear friend of mine, a community member, Deborah Hoffman, and she is a follow-up artist, is the very best way I can say it. And how many of you know that you have deals falling through your fingers because your follow-up isn't what it could be, whether that is systems, whether that's strategy, whether that's clarity. And if you know that, honest goodness, spend an hour with Deborah, and it is spectacular. Huge, huge fan of her. Okay, anything else I can answer, gang? All right, come join us. I give you my word, it will be the best investment that you make in your life. And here's how I want you to think about it. A decent lead now, these days, costs about $10. And that's a lead for a retail client. That's a person that you can actually speak to and say hi to and communicate with. So what is a partner worth? If a partner could send you 10 leads a year, 100 leads a year, 1,000 leads a year, partners gotta be worth at least $100 to $1,000, one partner. JVology Live, 10th to 13th, I'm going to introduce you to, based on our averages, somewhere between 70 and 100 partners. And then you're going to come to the Global Lounge, and I'm going to introduce you to another 250 partners over the span of a year for $997. A little bit batshit crazy. So you need to think about it from this perspective. What is a partner worth right here, right now, in terms of what that acquisition is? And what is a partner worth in terms of their lifetime value? When you begin to understand the lifetime value of a great partner, $997 is absolutely insane. So I'm going to leave you with one last thought. I know somebody's like, man, I don't know if I have enough time. I'm not sure if I have enough money. I'm not sure if my team's big enough to handle this stuff, all the rest of it. Let me say this as clearly as I possibly can. None of you have a shortage of resources. Even you might think you do. None of you have a shortage of resources. What your real struggle is in your business is you have a shortage of joint venture partners who can deliver you the resources you need. That's really what we provide. So on that note, gang, thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation. Come play with us at JVLG Live. It'll knock your socks off. Have a great night. Bye-bye.